to Wild on Design, a webcast series that explores a wide range of exciting topics with leaders in the design industry, presented by the Pacific Design Center and Women in Luxury Design. Hi, I'm Jennifer Convy, and I'm the host and director of Women in Luxury Design. And we'd like to thank the Pacific Design Center for their partnership with us. We are so very excited. And a very special thank you to the director of the PDC's digital program, Maria Hughes. Thank you so much. They are planning some really new, exciting digital platforms and programming for 2021. Of which this webcast is one of them. So we're really happy to be here. First and foremost, I hope that all of you are safe and well, doing marvelously during these most challenging times in what I like to call the now normal. Ever-changing moment to moment. But before I get to today's topic and our esteemed panelists, a little about Women in Luxury Design. We are a exclusive vetted business networking group comprised of the leading women in interior design, hospitality, architecture, real estate, art, and more. And our motto is we are consistently expanding the circle of connections, collaborations, opportunities, and relationships within the luxury design industry. We also believe that the strength of your network is the strength of your business. Our topic today is silver linings in today's market. How leaders in the industry are utilizing, monetizing, and benefiting from implementing digital tools in today's luxury design brand market and in the industry as a whole. So our accomplished and very brilliant panelists who are with us today are industry leaders, and they have been pivoting and embracing and creating change and innovative connection, information, inspiration, relevance, and growth, utilizing digital evergreen videos, content, and platforms to engage and expand their circle and brand with greater reach to consumers and the industry. So I'd like to welcome our panelists and introduce them to you. We're thrilled to have you all here today. Let's start with Chris Olshan. He is the Global CEO of Luxury Marketing Council, a serial entrepreneur with you've opened over 40 businesses and serves as one of the global thought leaders in the ever-changing luxury market and ultra high net worth customers. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Jennifer. It's great to be here. And thank you to the Pacific Design Center for having me.
Great to see you. And next we have Megan Reilly. She is the co-founder and owner of Westedge Design Fair, having produced some of the most important events within the design industry, including the Architectural Digest Design Show and NeoCon. Megan relocated to the West Coast from New York City to launch the Westedge Design Fair in 2013. She has extensive experience in brand activations, event management, marketing, programming, project management, and public relations. And she's a good friend of ours and a member of Women in Luxury Design. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, Jennifer. It's great to be here.
And last but certainly not least, Darren Franks. Welcome, Darren. Darren Franks is the owner of Darren Franks and Associates, a renowned Los Angeles-based artist and contractor specializing in the decorative arts for an elite clientele. Absolutely stunning work. His work is featured in books and regularly appears in notable publications. Darren is also the president of the Southern California chapter of the Institute of Classical Art and Architecture. Welcome, Darren.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. It's my pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to see you. We love ICAA too.
Thank you.
Okay, so silver linings. Each of you are leaders in the industry and in your own organizations, and all of you have spearheaded new directions that have proven to be successful on so many levels in today's ever-changing market, what I like to call, as I said, the now normal. So first of all, we applaud all of you and your leadership by example doing this during the most challenging of times. There's been a huge shakeup in our industry, in all industry really, and all of our lives. And so congrats to all of you for not only surviving, but you're thriving. Okay, so you are an inspiration to us and we want to learn more about what you've been up to. So thank you for being here. Okay, a question to all of you. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary actions. Creativity is born out of necessity. We've all heard that saying, and you've all done this. How do each of you see your industry, luxury market, brands, design leaders changing? And how have you changed your approach in tone and in messaging during this time? Let's start with you, Chris.
Okay. I guess the first comment I would make is, how do I see the market changing? And my answer to that would be, I think there has been a shift in what the luxury consumer wants, specifically facing status luxury. So when you talk about bespoke suits or high-end purses or high-end timepieces, the idea that these products really are driven by the look at me approach. It's, I look great in this suit. I love this watch. It makes me look like I am worth a certain amount of money. That's why I wear it. The problem is when you're in a pandemic and in a lockdown, the clock on your microwave works just as well as that $200,000 timepiece. And the sweatpants or yoga pants or Psycho Bunny shorts are just as comfortable, if not more so, than the custom suit. So people are thinking about luxury a little bit differently and saying, how is this really helping my life? How is this benefiting me? Where is their value?
More practical.
Exactly. So, new appliances, new cookware, a great box of chocolates, a nice bottle of wine, things that will impact their day-to-day life, especially being at home, new headphones, a new computer. That really is kind of where luxury is going.
Right. And so how did you pivot your organization with that in mind? You have over 2,500 luxury brands in the Luxury Marketing Council. So you just see it across the boards, and then your messaging had to come as well.
And then on our side, the short answer is we went digital. We can't do our live events right now, so we actually doubled down. We used to do about 30 live events a year in the city. We're now doing about 60 digital events. We had one recorded series of interviews. We're now doing 3 recorded series of interviews. We've upped our presence on LinkedIn. We're starting to share more content. The biggest thing is we're seeing people have the time to consume information. When it used to be, I don't have 30 minutes to be on a webinar, now people spend 10 hours on a webinar a day. So we can share more information. People are more interested in consuming it, digesting it, and learning from it. So it's actually allowed us to have a bigger reach and to do more than we've done before.
That's awesome. I mean, that's amazing. We all miss the in-person live events, but that's fantastic that you're utilizing the digital platform and video, right? Megan, same question to you. I mean, all of us do live in-person events. Of course, all that shut down. So I'd love to hear from you how you've pivoted. You're no stranger to video and platform with the Westedge Design Fair, but just if you would, first of all, tell everybody a little bit about that.
Sure. So Westedge takes place every fall at the Barker Hangar, and obviously we canceled last year. And the nice thing about some of the things we had already been doing, we video record and audio record all of our panel discussions at Westedge each year. So we had that content from October of 2019. We were able to kind of repackage it for anyone who didn't attend the show. And, it really expanded our reach. I think that's one of the great things about digital is suddenly you have, so many more attendees and guests able to really participate in what you're doing. So we repackaged our content and pushed it out as podcasts. We also launched a series. I think everyone has become more attuned to Instagram and Instagram Live during this time period. So we launched a series on Instagram Live called Meet the Maker, which really was a way for us to tell the story of some of our clients, the maker community. We have a section at Westedge called Made Modern, which is all about independent designers, makers, and craftspeople. And so we hosted a series of interviews and storytelling, really highlighting several of those makers. And then finally, we took a lot of our lifestyle content. We host culinary demonstrations, mixology events, wine tastings.
Oh, those were great.
Yeah, always such a fun aspect to do that in our official culinary pavilion. So we took that content and created a video series called In Session, which we launched just a few months ago and is still rolling out.
It's beautiful. I've seen some of the episodes. Absolutely fabulous. So wow, all of you are so busy. Darren, I gotta ask. I know that ICAA is you know, a good chunk of it is all about the education portion of that program. And I know that you've embraced all the digital tools and, you know, it just because you're not having in-person live events, which were always extraordinary, your keynotes, your guest speakers, and so forth. We all miss it. So let's hear what you've been doing during this time differently than you were before, let's say.
Well, things have definitely changed. And we've noticed that our members have taken this opportunity for a bit of a timeout in the early days. And they took the opportunity to rediscover their skills and to reinvent themselves in parts. And as the ICAA, we've been there to help with our community, bring people together. And we've transitioned from in-person classes and lectures to moving them completely online, of course, we've had to. And we offer them so that professionals can hone their skills and you know, learn something new and get involved. And it's been very successful. We've also rolled out a campaign which has been a sketch at home on Instagram, where we share an image of an iconic Southern California piece of architecture, and members can, you know, use watercolors or pencil sketches or any medium they choose and post it on Instagram. And that's been really fun. We've come up with some very creative ways of showing architecture. So it's been very engaging and fun. So it's been a very successful transition thus far. A lot more to do, but that's there is an opportunity, and we've taken it.
But you spearheaded it, didn't you? You started before the world shut down, right?
Well, I think what we do is I mean we work in design. It's incredibly visual. We have beautiful products and amazing architecture. So it was very easy to move it to an online medium. And also we realized that before the pandemic, with these incredible world-class lecturers traveling in to give a lecture to our members, and then once the lecture was over, that's it. We decided to professionally record it and archive it on our new website. And we, since the pandemic, we've just scaled up production, and we maintain the high quality of lectures. And now we digitally archive, and we initially made it available for free to everyone.
That's amazing. Now, when you say everyone, now ICAA is a membership, right?
It is, but initially
And
we had to change our tone. We felt we wanted to. We reached out to the ASID organized chapter in Los Angeles. We wanted to be more inclusive and share and open up what we have. So we made it completely free for anyone who was willing to, who would like to learn.
anyone who can go online. And the beauty of that, you know, part educational, part entertainment, and always inspirational. I just took a class recently online. So whether you're a student or not,
Yes.
I think that's key, finding that sweet spot for credits for students that need them, and then for others that just want to learn and continue being engaged in the information. I understand that, well, because you've opened it up not just to membership, that you actually have grown your members and interest internationally now,
We
right?
have.
Your Southern
have.
California chapter, however.
Well, we have a national membership, but we've also forged a very strong relationship with Prince Charles. Has a foundation in the UK, and we've forged an alliance with him, and so we're actually becoming more connected with these little global pockets who share a common interest in this type of architecture and design. So it's been it really has opened things up and helped us with a much broader reach, which we never would have considered before the pandemic.
Right. So all of you have been just expanding your circle tenfold, 100-fold during this time by creating all the various different content and platforms and videos. You know, video is king. Video is evergreen. It's so smart to be doing that, and all your different fields and organizations, all of it under the luxury marketing, you know, architects, design umbrella. I would love to know, listen, we all miss our in-person events. And I know that Women in Luxury Design, we do many a year. We have a 3-day conference. We were had to cancel. That will resume. We just don't know when it's safe to do so. I'm sure we will all go back, right, to our in-person events. So the question I have for each of you, and Chris, we'll start with you. Now that you're doing 60 or plus, good Lord, videos and keynotes, will you continue that when it's safe to go back to in-person? So you'll produce your in-person events and keep that up? Or is one going to go away and you're going to go right back to where you were?
I think there'll be a bit of a balance. You know, back in early April, there was a joke floating around the internet. Well, I guess we all now get to figure out which meetings could have been emails. And I kind of have that mentality looking at the future. Our organization was always designed around the in-person relationship, because at the end of the day, as great as video is, there's nothing like sitting down with somebody for 2 hours and breaking bread and drinking wine and sharing a meal and actually being in the room with them to physically feed off of their body language and, you know, see the excitement in their eyes and things like that. So there's something to be said about in person, but there's also something to be said about the ease of this. I mean, you know, we're talking about the Pacific Design Center in California. I'm in New York, and right now I'm in Pennsylvania. And yet we're having this conversation, and it's going to be seen by, you know, the Pacific Design Center clients in California. So having the ability to do online is definitely allowing for an expansion. There's a lot of value to it. It's something we're going to continue, but I think we'll probably scale back slightly. I'll continue with 60 events, but 30 will be live and 30 will be digital instead of them all being digital.
So
I think it's
finding
finding
a
a
sweet
healthy
spot.
balance.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait, and I want to go to one.
Absolutely.
No, you're right. The virtual thing, the ease and the reach. And so you're going to balance. Megan, what about you? You're so busy producing, you know, the in-session series. You're going to be doing another one?
We are. Yeah, we are. So similar to Chris, we are going to balance. And I think, you know, there's something about the products that we showcase at Westedge. They're tactile, they're higher price point. This is never going to be a replacement by any means for coming and seeing the products in person and meeting the companies and the makers and really hearing the story. I think what the digital world has done beautifully is tell us all how much more effective we can be to up our game when it comes to marketing, storytelling, and of course the educational component. We've all noticed and been privy to how well online education works. So we will continue to do year-round programs and year-round engagements to support our brands. But we're very much looking forward to getting back to in-person events too. One of the things I love so much about W.I.L.D is really the sense of community that you've created, Jennifer. And the events are great, you learn things, but it's really about that in-person networking. And that's where business is transacted, and that's where trust builds between people. And we're gonna do both. I think we need the in-person world to come back.
We do.
And we'll continue. And we are gonna do another in-session series. We launched our first season in partnership with Pasadena Showcase House, and we're planning for another video series in March and April.
And that'll be something completely different, right? You can't talk about it yet?
It's still in formulation. It's still in formulation.
What design centric?
Yeah, design and lifestyle centric.
Wonderful. You know, thank you, Megan. Yes. You know, I always say in our organization and to everybody, you know, never underestimate that first 30 seconds, 1 minute face-to-face time. And I don't mean FaceTime on your phone. I mean in-person FaceTime. You know, we're judgmental as human beings. We're taking in so many secondary and many layers of perception from someone that you're either intrigued or I like that person. You know, you're not even aware of it. Gee, I wouldn't mind talking to that person again later. Or, gee, maybe we could work together. Those things happen. I like them. Maybe not. You know, it's really important. And then the ancillary ways we continue our conversations, that initial meeting can take you on, I think, onward and beyond. I think that's the Zoom fatigue some of us feel sometimes, is that we're having to pay so much more attention on a different plane than we would in person, intuitively. But thank gosh we have it, because 100 years ago during that pandemic, nobody was staying in touch. Nobody could communicate. So that's fantastic. Darren, what about you? Finding a balance for the future? Are you going to continue with the digital programming, what will shift for you when it's safe for all of us to go back to in-person gatherings?
Very good question, because as Megan and Chris have said, there's clearly there's no substitution for in-person networking. It's not going to happen online as successfully. So I think in 2020, we phase one was getting mobilizing and getting people online and creating. So ICAA, we created a successful platform to host these live events where people could watch, listen, and learn. But I think the challenge of this year is going to be a much more personal interaction between the groups. So and so we're going to be focusing on smaller groups where we could share. Perhaps we're discussing a very specific topic, and maybe we have a series of meetings with this small group where the first one we introduce a new book by a designer, and then we review several items, and perhaps between the group we pick 3 areas to discuss. We each go away, we review it, we think about it, we come back with our thoughts, and we have a discussion about it on the next Zoom meeting. So I think that's the challenge. We have to take this isolation, and we have to move forward into phase 2, where we're much more engaged in that online Zoom conversation versus it being a one-way conversation. It has to become a 2-way conversation. Yes. That's what we're producing, and that's what we're planning on doing.
How exciting. How exciting. I like that. More intimate, smaller groups. It's going to be really interesting to see. On the one hand, I think everyone's going to be crazed to have connection and get out there again. I don't know about you, but I don't know if I want to go back to 1,000 miles an hour like most of us were going before this. Perhaps it'll be a more thoughtful, mindful attention to prioritizing what we do go and spend our energy in. And I love what each of you have said, and I cannot wait to see. We'll have a part 2 after, hopefully sooner than later, when we can all go back to that and then still utilize the digital tools that you've all implemented so beautifully. I'm glad to hear you're not gonna do away with it or diminish it too much. And we're certainly not. So basically we've signed up to do double the work, double the producing for the future.
Well, no, I think what Chris said was very good, that, it's, we've decided that maybe that meeting could have just been a couple of emails instead. We will have to, we can make some choices and ask the question, should we really meet, or can we do a Zoom? For a meeting? I mean, why do we have to meet face to face? Let's have a Zoom and have...
Corporate America has discovered this, if not the world. There are office buildings sitting empty, and business still happens. I mean, Google's giving up their space here. I mean, it's it's a real. Yeah.
It's very much like after 9/11, where we thought air travel will never be the same again, and it wasn't. But we very quickly adapted to the new normal, and now it's okay, instead of getting to the airport 30 minutes early, it's get to the airport 3 hours early, but you're still taking that flight. You're still able to go. It just requires a little more adjustment to the day and the balance of the schedule. And I think that's what we're going to see moving forward. It's going to be, we need to be together for these items. These other items, you know what? We can get more done and be more efficient by not leaving the house. On these, let's make it digital.
And I think to your point, Jennifer, with work having shifted and so many people spending such a significant portion of their day at home now, commercial real estate, people are investing more in the residential market, and we're seeing that. So that bodes well for all of us. And it's more important than ever is homeowners and consumers are making these quality-based decisions about what they want their home to feel and look like, that we're able, that at least for Westedge, we're able to tell the story of these great products and the nature of the quality and why they're worth looking at, and
absolutely
becoming more educated and more of a connoisseur about.
I love that. You're so right. And the story sells. Absolutely. If it has a story that's worth telling, it really is more engaging, and it makes you more excited about whatever that wonderful product is, a design that you're going to bring into your home. It's very personal. I'm sorry,
I think
Chris,
the home's taken on a different meaning as well. I mean, before it was, this is where I go to sleep. I spend my day in the city, and then home is where I lay my head at night. Now home is where I live. So what I want in a home, the size of the home, how many spaces should be open versus where can I have some privacy? You know, I think revamping the thought process of what the home means. It's no longer just the place that stores your clothes where you sleep. It's now where you actually live again, the way it was years ago. And for you guys, this has to be an incredibly exciting time because people are actually caring about what's going into the home in a way that happened in decades.
In fact, it's infecting architecture, you know, your open spaces. People want walls. Walls are becoming big again, rooms with doors. For privacy, you've got kids at home learning, you've got multitask rooms now. Everybody's working and doing from home. And then the outdoor space, which we're fortunate to have here in California most of the year round. You know, it's changing the way we build, the way we're designing and decorating, what we're purchasing, what's important. Home desks, offices have gone through the roof. You know, comfort, gee, you know, we need.
And what that means, the idea that there's a dining room table and you have a family dinner again. You actually sit down and eat with people you care about as opposed to everybody grabs something on the go. There's becoming more of a connection. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been huge in our industry. And I think there was some shakeup in the very early days where things were just postponed. They weren't necessarily canceled. In the early days of lockdown and pandemic, I watched all the emails and newsletters and blogs come in, and everybody was trying to find their tone. It's like, hey, look at this new table. Wasn't quite, a little bit tone deaf in the beginning, but you know, it changed, and then it got very sincere, and now everybody is, to what you said, Chris. You know, it's not status as much as it is the value. And the quality, Megan, like you said, quality of the product. And if you can tell the story about that, you know, we're booming here in the design and residential. And oh, thank goodness. And I hope it just continues to soar. Thank you, everyone. I think that everyone can benefit by creating content and engaging and growing your business and your customers. Do you have any final words? We'll start with you, Chris. Just for people watching this who are in industry, if they haven't jumped into any kind of video content, I'd love to hear from each of you since you're all doing it. So you're superstars.
I have two comments. The first one, and I'm going to do these quickly. The first one is a story that I heard from the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Hunter Douglas right after the pandemic started. And that was that, you know, when you look at the industry and you look at the market, you can play in the peaks or you can play in the valleys. And if you think of your brand like a diamond, when you're at peak, you are a polished, gorgeous stone. The problem with that is no matter how much more you polish that diamond, it can only get just a little bit brighter, a little bit shinier. In the valleys, you're like a raw diamond. And with a little bit of polish and a little bit of work, you suddenly have this gorgeous piece of jewelry. Since March, we've been in the valley and we've all basically been converted back into raw diamonds and have this opportunity to really polish and hone areas of our business that we were too busy doing the work before to be thinking about the brand. Now we can think about our brand. So if you're not in digital yet, we haven't opened back up yet. You still have a little bit of time to polish that stone before the world comes back and you're behind schedule.
Right. That's great advice.
I think we've kind of hit this point of being authentic. You know, to your point about the messaging and people trying to find their message, there was this really weird window in late spring, early summer of we're here for you. You know, we're Toyota. We want to sell you an $80,000 car. And that means we're here for you. We have this great $10,000 mattress and we're here for you if you buy it. It's like we're going to be sleeping in bed with you, even though once you buy it, you're not going to hear from us. We're pretending to be here for you. Now brands are actually saying, we don't know what's going on. We don't know where the world is.
We're honest.
We're not sure what's going to happen. If you need a product, we're happy to sell it to you and do so in a way that it's convenient for you. And if not, when you want it, we've got it. And all of a sudden, it's become this authentic message of the brand's not going to save my life, but if I actually want something from the brand, I know the brand is.
A more realistic, more earnest, more straightforward approach is always appreciated.
Yeah, and people have picked
Darren,
up on it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Those are gems.
Oh, you're welcome.
Darren, do you have any comments on what you could advise people watching you and all of you as inspiration to what they can do to grow their business with video? What would you advise? Direction?
Yes. I'll be happy to. I think, well, look, the phone doesn't ring by itself. It is your network and your community. And, you know, if you have to tap in and develop your relationship with your network. And, you know, ICAA, we have a wonderful community where there's different trades and skill sets that come together as a group, and we share things together. So I think it's very important to operate with integrity. And you communicate with integrity. You do what you say you're going to do and follow through. And but I think also it's very important to understand that you have to. It's kind of tough to get self-motivated and do things online. Like I have a hard time shoe shopping or clothing shopping on the internet. But but we have to make that leap. We have to know that it's a viable, incredible medium, and we have to embrace it, and we have to tap into.
Jump in. You're telling them you got to do it. You just have to jump in. And I would say, but Megan, I want to hear from you as well. But I would say, start watching other people's content. Not for if you're going to start jumping into video. Kind of look and see how it's done and what work resonates with you, and then apply just the framework of that to whatever your message and product and business is. Megan, and you, my dear, what would you?
Well, I would say two things. To Darren's point, the collaboration and connectivity, I think, has become stronger. We're all realizing that we're better and stronger together when we do fully reopen. So I'm seeing a lot of brands reaching out to other brands, brands reaching out to us, brands reaching out to industry associations like Darren's. And there are all sorts of opportunities to help and support each other. And then secondly, we work with a lot of small businesses, small makers, small design firms. And I think there can sometimes be a fear with video or digital that it's not perfect. We don't know what we're doing fully, so we're going to just sit back.
You're right.
And I think that it's better to try. And especially, for example, with the social media platforms, everything can be deleted if you're not happy with it, or you don't get the reaction.
Or recorded and deleted or edited.
This is a great opportunity to tweak and test and really kind of get your house in order with learning some new skills, and not to be afraid of putting something out there that might be a little raw and gritty, but if it's authentic and speaks to your brand, you're on the right track.
And it gets easier the more you do it. So you can practice on your phone. I didn't have that luxury back when in TV, you just had to, it goes on air the way it is. So now there's no excuse not to practice and get really comfortable as much as you can. And, you know, we're very forgiving out there. We want to hear what you have to say, not necessarily the way you have to say it.
Right. I mean, the world has gone quiet to some extent, but we're not quiet. And so I think it's more important than ever to let people know what you're doing, and, you know, what you have going on or what you have in the works, and what you're hoping to launch or announce or do later in the year.
Right. I love what you said about affiliations, partnering up with other, you have small businesses, you have big businesses too. We have sponsors, you know, in the industry. Hey, we partnered, Pacific Design Center and Women in Luxury Design partnered. It's something for everybody. You know, as long as the partnership is beneficial to everyone, it's exciting and you're stronger for it and you have a greater reach with that. And it's just fun and you're building community. I just want to thank all of you, Chris Olshan, Darren Franks, Megan Reilly. Thank you for sharing your inspiration and your knowledge and innovation with all of us today. And I can't wait to see you again in person. But if not, we'll do another Zoom. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This is W.I.L.D on Design. We'll see you soon.